Hey, welcome back, and thanks for joining me here once again. And I got this pretty cool, photograph. And I'm not gonna draw the body and stuff, but maybe just concentrate more on the face and the hair. There's some interesting stuff going on. Might be a little bit fun to draw. All right, so I'm just gonna be using. Well, let's start off. I'm gonna start off with a 4B. I have my regular 6B and 2B with me. So, and let's see what we can end up with. And I won't be drawing. I'll be drawing a little bit smaller. Hopefully I can get some more done. So maybe I'm just looking at the top of the hair. Nice to do some, I guess, hair renderings once in a while. Okay, so I'm just trying to line things up. When I'm not sure what to do, I just, drawing some of the angle lines first. And then hopefully from that, it will give me some, reference points to work with. And that's how you can draw the rest of everything else. Basically, you have to start somewhere, right? So let's say that's the side of the head. The size of the head I'm gonna draw. So here's the eye. So, just keep it light. I'm keeping it really light just in case, there's things that I need to change. That's why we sketch. Keep things light. Because, always need to fix things. Okay, so that's the mouth. Oops, I almost forgot my eraser. I can't forget my eraser. So those lines, across the eye, and then the center line, those things are pretty helpful. If it's off, don't worry about it. Just keep going. This part is way off. Okay, so the hair down here. So I'm not trying to draw it exactly. I just want to have a frame of reference so that when I am sketching later, even if I change things up, I kind of have a sense of how the lighting works, and that's what's really important. Okay, and then the dress here. Very loose. Shoulder, collarbone right here. Let me zoom out a little. The armpit coming down. So I'm seeing the vertical line. So let's say here's the elbow. There's a little bone. And I come down, and here's the little line there for the armpit. So that's how you can measure. Just trying to visualize those vertical lines. Okay. All right, so I'm a little bit off. A little bit too close. And then the other side, let's see, her arm is up. There's the breast here. Okay, just roughly. All right, well, let's get to the good part. Let's start shading. I think that's much more exciting. So I'm gonna let's stick with the 4B. Let's go with the eye first. So this is gonna be pretty small. So I should be able to get a good part of the drawing done. Here's the eyeball. And this is really small, so that's the pupil. I'm just gonna give it a light shade, give a little bit of a dot there. Looks very cartoony right now. It's almost like a comic book drawing. So I'm making the eyes. Actually, maybe that's a little bit too big. All right, so make sure to keep that little gap here for the lower lid. There's a little white gap there. Okay, that's one. And we can fix it up later. Let's come across. I'm going to try to draw a little line here, very faint, just so that we can have the eyes kind of lined up. And this one is going to be much darker because the hair is, everything's kind of in the shadow. Here's the eyeball. Starting to look like, yeah, actually like a very cool comic book style, right? A little bit more anime. Hit the nose, coming down here. Again, this photo, it's pretty touched up, but it's okay. We're not gonna be drawing that much detail anyways. Here's the nose. Just gonna give the bottom just a slight shade, and then the lip. Okay, lower lip. The highlight, very small, so I'm gonna just try to save that. This part's darker right in the middle. And then the upper lip's gonna be darker than the lower lip, just because it's catching less light. Okay, so it's starting to look pretty, right? I think the features are nice. And we can always change things up. You know, we don't have to draw it exactly what we see. You know, if you want to make the chin a little bit sharper, that's fine too, right? We're just doing a drawing. Yeah, this is definitely comic book style. All right, which is nice. I really love those how the females are drawn in the comic book, the way they do it, the big lips and stuff. All right, so that's the face. Let's get some more shading. All right, I'll stick with the 4B. I'm just gonna give this one shade first. So I know this is gonna be dark and this is gonna be kind of away from the light. So once I give a shade like this, I actually lost the highlight. Oh, the highlight's gonna be right around here. I can come in and just now shade it again. We'll get the darker areas. And then the back here is gonna be even darker. So I'm using this flicking technique again. Push in and then just try to go with the direction of the hair. Hopefully I can get some strands at the same time. Yeah, very comic book style. Really comic book style. So I'm trying to keep with the direction here. It's gonna fall out here. Okay, here's the dark part. Let's see. Here's the white part here. It's gonna be right around here. Yeah, don't be afraid to, when you're drawing stuff, don't be afraid to just go ahead and, you know, outline things, because we can always come in and just, you know, get rid of those lines that you draw on. Especially if, you know, with hair, it's gonna be really dark anyways. Okay, so let's see this part here. I should be using a 6B, I think. Oh, well, whatever. I'll stay with the 4. Maybe I'll hit the 6B on this part right here. Okay, so I'm turning my body here. Trying to keep with the direction of the hair. Once it gets to the bottom right here, it gets a little bit more complicated. So, but we can simplify that. Let's just give it a couple of curls like this and call it done. We don't have to follow exactly, right? So the hair, I'm just following the direction. Just gets nice little flow. And then right here is darker. There's some twirls in here. Again, we'll simplify that. This part is not completely white, so okay, so I think I'm gonna switch to, oh, my 6B is really blunt. I haven't sharpened since my last drawing. So this will kind of, yeah, soften things up. I don't know, maybe it's a little bit too soft for a small drawing. Sometimes when the drawing is so small, the 6B feels a little too chalky. Yeah, it's pretty. All right, let's go back to the 4. All right, so let's start shading some of the face. Got carried away with the hair, which is really nice. Okay, maybe this will be more of a comic book style. Okay, so let's see right here. The blush here. And then underneath the eyes, this part is always dark here. And then the highlights right here on the top. This part sinks in. This part's slightly darker here. There's a line here. Okay, this part is always a little darker right here because there's a turn. Highlights right around here. This part sinks in, so this part is always darker. So I'm really light. I'm just drawing these little circular shapes. I just want to keep my hand moving, and sometimes I'm not sure, so I know it looks kind of strange. I'm moving, but I'm not really doing much. Okay. Hopefully I can be a little bit more deliberate in the future. So now things are a little bit softer now that I've come in here with these circular shapes. That will get rid of some of the my directional lines at the beginning. Actually, this is really dark in here. Maybe I should have kept it like a comic book style, huh? It's getting a little muddy. Here, and then the neck. Okay, we got shade that, or else so we can pop out the chin. The skin down here is much darker than the face, so we can give this one shade. And the hair's in here, and then the very strange dress. I don't know if you guys can hear the gardener out there. It's not our house, it's the neighbor's house. A little loud. Okay, let's see here. Darker. Yeah, so the lighting is, again, this one is almost straight on, so along the edge it's gonna be darker. And then everything else gets brighter in the middle. Okay, so again, here's the armpit. Okay, so I'm not gonna go down too far. Let's come back up here. I don't know, this dress might be kind of weird. Really strange to draw. Let's see. So if I take the line, the armpit, I come across, the nipple is right around here. So that'll give me some placement. I'll just give this one shade first. And then dress here, kind of wrinkles up. It ties around here. All right, let's skip that. Yeah, the dress can be a little maddening, I guess, to draw in all those little details, but we'll simplify it, obviously. So we're just drawing the major curves or the folds. Tucks in here, goes back here. I'm just going to just make that dark. Okay, and then the hair. Just gonna really push in here because this is really dark right here. Eyes needs to be a little bit darker. Okay, let's fix up some of the hair. Now I'm just seeing, I just try to draw it as accurately as possible. Keep it, keep the shading, you know, the light source and everything correct. So once you have the, you know, the same, you know, the light source correct, then, you know, we're free to change it up, right? In terms of what kind of shapes and stuff. So that'll still look, I guess, realistic. Oh, my 4B's dying here, guys. It's almost gone. Darker here. Yeah, the eyes really need to be dark in order to have that punch. I'll sharpen up my 6B and come in here and really hit the high. Darker here. This part's kind of crazy. But we'll skip that. Just adding some of these little loops. All right, and then now I'm back to the head. So the thing with this dress is just it's so weird. If you don't sketch it correctly, or even if you do, I mean, there's so much stuff. Even if you do sketch it correctly, it might look weird anyways. So then people will see it, they'll be like, it's like, do you know what you're doing? Or, you know. So sometimes you have to just kind of simplify it and then make it look good, you know, regardless of what you think it is. Because sometimes, you know, all those little, even though it's real, obviously, we're looking at a photograph. If you draw it exactly, sometimes it looks a little strange. Unless you really grind at it and make it perfect. Yeah, so I'm just gonna make this a little bit darker up top here. So I draw the arm. The arm's pretty boring, comes up here. There's really not much going on. I'm just gonna skip that arm. Here's the other nipple. I guess I should draw some of this part here. Okay, well, yeah, I won't go down too much then. Let's come back up here. Maybe have a 2B. Let's try a 2B. Maybe I can fill in some of the spaces. Even out the shading a little bit more. So the 2B, because it's harder, it's gonna, you know, fill in the paper a little bit smoother. That'll help me fill out like little gaps like this. With the 6B, kind of glaze over, leaves a lot of white spots. The 2B will help me, you know, really smooth things out, you know, in the lighter areas. I still need to come back with a 6B to, you know, give it some punch. All right, let me sharpen my 6B real quick. All right, so I'm back with my sharpened 6B, and this is probably, you know, the best part of drawing is when you come in here and really highlight things. You know, either make it a little bit more accurate, but let's give it a little bit more punch so that this thing comes alive. So right now it's looking a little bit dead. So much darker areas, I'm just gonna push it right in. It's nice and sharp so I can get pretty fine details. Still have to be careful because it's so small. Kind of lost the highlight on this eye. Yeah, so drawing small definitely has its own challenges, right? Just have to be a little bit more careful. But it's a little bit quicker. I mean, you can hit things and just, you know, just fill it with that. You know, some quick lines. Especially with hair, it's like if you draw this bigger, it's a lot of work. Coming back here again. Oh, let's bring it back down. Come on, let's start moving and it's just like, you know, it's a natural progression. So you want to continue where you're sketching. It's pretty fine here. Let's get into the lip because the lip is nice. much shorter strokes. Highlight. Darker. This edge right here is darker. Tucks in here. This part slightly darker. Okay, we gotta bring out the chin, so I'm gonna shade the bottom here darker. Make sure you don't draw too hard of a line, or if you do draw a line here, make sure you fade that out, because there is, we shouldn't see a line on the chin. The only reason we see any kind of shape here is because the neck is darker down behind it. So we want to shade the neck dark so that this whole chin line, the jawline, comes out naturally. And that's just something you gotta be aware of when you're drawing any kind of anatomy, especially. Be careful of the lines, just see the difference in the values. Back to the stress here again. But the face is looking better. Yeah, definitely cool comic book style. I really like some of the way those comic book guys draw. They draw so much of it, they're so good at it. They got a great style. Okay, but we're trying to push it a little bit more realistic. Hopefully we can learn a little bit more about shading. We force ourselves to do things like this. That was off camera. Well, let's come back to the hair then. Maybe I can finish up some of the hair right here. So I think we're pretty close, right? I think yeah, it's looking okay. Looking pretty. We can clean things up now that I have my sharpened 6B. Come in here. Let's see, we can add in more details. Some more strands going this way. This part right here is really dark. There's a huge gap right here. It flows down here. This part should be a little bit darker as this flows in, comes back out. Pushing pretty hard on the paper. Smaller detail here. This part's dark here, and then just highlight all the way around here. We can make that distinction there. That will give the hair some glow. So I'm running here all along the edge. Okay, so darker, and now this part looks better, right? A lot better. Here as well, soften this up right here. Okay, this part is white, so we'll leave that. Back here, let's add a little bit more shading here. It's a little bit whiter here because of the light. So all along the edge is gonna be darker back here, and that's gonna help give this kind of pop it out a little bit more. And I'm leaning back to the face again. Okay. It's like ADD, right? You can't just keep jumping around. Back to the face. Even if we keep it white, it's still okay. But let's give the nose a little bit more definition. It's a highlight on the nose right here, so I'm gonna make this part a little bit darker. Let's make this edge darker right here. My nose is a little strange, isn't it? Eyeball, let's see, it's pretty big. Obviously I made mine a little bit too big, but it's okay. Let's see, I'm looking at it. This part right here is really strange. I'm just gonna dab it, get rid of that. Should be up higher. This part needs to be darker. Okay, so I think that's about it. I mean, if I go in and really look at it again, my head over the paper, I'm sure I'll see a lot of errors. But overall, I think this is it. Yeah, the hair is actually really fun. I really enjoy doing that. It's small enough where, you know, it's not as daunting, right? And with a 6B, I actually cover quite a lot of area. So that was kind of fun. Okay, so I think that's about it for this drawing. I might come in and add in a little bit more detail, but overall, you know, very small drawing. This is probably only a couple inches tall, and yeah, actually allows me to finish more of it in a very short period of time, you know, compared to a huge drawing. So especially with the hair, small is better. Okay, it's a lot easier. All right, so thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next time.